from the following: Chairman Ian Belcher, Kiwanis Shakil Douglas, Vice District Trustee Rodson Eunice, Distinguished President Christopher Robinson, and Kiwanis Leighton Wilson. Thank you. Over to you, President.
Okay, thank you. We will go, that's a report of the nominations committee, and we have complied with the rules. We will then move to the main event, which is our up close and personal presentation. And I ask DP Stewart Spencer to lead this segment.
Thank you, President Richard. Fellow Kiwanians and guests, it is my pleasure this evening to introduce our members who will be sharing with us a little of their personal journey. We have, let me just put my video on. Yeah, we have with us Vice President Junior Stewart, and we have also the Director David Hall. Now, it would not be appropriate for me to start telling you much about them because that is what they are going to do. So without any further ado, I'm going to ask Vice President Junior, who is up first. He's gonna be up first. So Junior,
I just asked before they proceed, DP Stewart, if DP Desmond could silence the microphone to getting some feedback. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
All right, let me look at that. All right, I will mute everyone, but I'll ask you to unmute yourself shortly. VP.
You mean the speaker?
All right, unmute yourself now, yeah?
I have.
You're okay now, VP Junior.
Are you hearing me?
Loud and clear.
Yes, we're hearing you loud and clear.
Good night, DP Stewart, President Reese.
Good evening.
Good evening to all our visitors. My name is Junior Stewart, and I'm not a junior. It is my real name. I've been faced from time to time with people saying, "Oh, what is your name?" And I said, Junior Stewart. And they say, "Oh, what is your real name?" And I said, Junior Stewart. And, sometimes I have to laugh and say, I am that old. By this, I would know my real name. So it is Junior Stewart. I'm not a junior to my father as such. I'm a born Kingstonian. I was born, for those of you who are older, you'll know the term lining, which means lining at the Kingston Jubilee Hospital. So I'm a born Kingstonian. Let us set that one straight. Because there are a lot of people who believe that I'm a Montegonian because of my father. My father is a Montegonian and he was the mayor of Montego Bay. So most people know me and I was very close to him, thought that I was a Montegonian. But I'm not. I'm a born Kingstonian. I was brought up I grew up in Jewsland in Waterhouse as a youngster. I spent all my formative years there. My school career was really one of coincidence. I was supposed to have gone to Marvell Primary School. And in those days, you have your elder relatives taking you to school on the first day. I started out with my cousin and then ended up with some friends and ended up at Stewart Primary School. So nobody could find me until the evening after, when they didn't know exactly where I was. So I told them that I went to school. And they said, "No, but nobody saw you at school." It turned out that I went to Stewart Primary, which was in the opposite direction of where I was supposed to go. I went with some other friends that were going there. I mean, Marvell was across the gully in the north and Stewart was in the south, down in Tower Hill. So I ended up at Stewart Primary School, and believe me, I really enjoy my journey at Stewart Primary School because I was a member of the Stewart Scout Troop. I was a member of the Stewart Primary Youth Club. I was all in sports, cricket, football, everything that you can call sports. So for those of you who are old enough too, I was a member of the Matcham team, and I did quite well at Stewart. I played both cricket and football for Stewart. I was a member of the Scout Troop, as I've said, Stewart Scout Troop, and a member of the St. Patrick Youth Club. It's one thing I was determined to do from I was a youngster. I was determined that I wanted to go to Kingston College. I have some friends who went to Kingston College, some who went to St. Andrews Tech, JC, and so on and so forth. But I was busy playing cricket, playing football in youth club, doing all extracurricular activity. So I didn't get a scholarship as it was those days to enter KC or no other high school. I used to play cricket on a weekend with my friend. Most of them, as I said, were from KC. This guy, I remember, Linval. We were supposed to play a cricket match this Saturday morning. But what happened is that when I was ready to play, he said he had to go to school for an extra class on Saturday, extra maths class. And believe me, don't ask me how this happened. But I ended up because I wanted to keep him intact and I didn't want to lose him for the day. I ended up being at Kingston College with him, taking his maths class. I was in the back of the class, just observing. When I saw this tall, handsome-looking man came in, it was the headmaster, Douglas Forrest. He looked over his glasses and looked in the back when he started and said, "Who is this young man in my class?" And my friend said to him, "It is my friend, sir. Him say, I want to come to KC." And the rest is history. When he took his break in teaching, he took me to his office. And he went through and talked to me and so on and so forth, trying to find out who I was and why I want to come to KC and so on. And I told him. I also told him that in that same holiday, I played against his second 11 team and made 50 runs not out and took 5 wickets. So he was most impressed. And as I said before, the rest is history. I went to Kingston College. When I went home back and told my parents and my friends that I was going to go to Kingston College, they laughed at me and said, "Wake up, man. You're dreaming, wake up." But when I remember Doug sent me down to the men's shop, King Street, and sent me to the Aguilar, the sports shop, and I got my whites and my khaki uniform and my tie and my blazer and everything. There I was after KC. So they all believed me when I came back the evening, still in my KC tie and so on. I went right through school and I decided that I wouldn't just play sports alone, that I would take on trying to learn my lesson as well. Well, the story is I came out in those days, I passed 6 O-levels in 2 years. You know, I went in midstream and then passed 3 A-levels and went on to the College of Art, Science and Technology to do further study. I could only afford to start to further study there on a part-time basis because I didn't have the money to go to school and so on. And I remember in December when I did my exam, the headmaster at CAS called me in and said, "Why are you doing this course? You're supposed to be doing the full-time course. Because your grades suggest that you can really manage the thing." And I explained to him that I didn't have any money and my parents could not afford it and so on. And he told me for the first time, about the student loan bureau. And he gave me a form. I went and got my student loan and went through CAS. I was successful in getting my diploma. Afterwards, went to FIU, Florida International University, to further my studies. But this again, it came at a time when I was working at the sugar industry housing as an assistant project manager. And they wanted a project manager. So they advertised for a project manager. And my friend and I, we were there hoping that one of us would have gotten the job. It was not to be, but they employed somebody else from outside. It was a young...
Those are your dogs, BP Junior?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
It was a young engineer. And guess what? DP Stewart. He was from Calabar. So with the KC spirit in me, I decided that I was not going to let a Calabar man get the job, and and I wouldn't do anything to it. So my friend who was working with me decided that he would not help him because I was much greener than us. We were working for about 5 years by now, so we were very experienced. So we had to take him along with us and so on. So I went to him and we spoke quite nicely, and he told me about the FIU that he went and did his further studies. And in 3 months, believe me, in 3 months, I was in Florida at FIU. I studied. I got my first degree at FIU. I came back and worked. And again, why I said this thing is a whole list of coincidence. My wife now, she got an application from her friend to do the MBA course at Nova University. But by then, I was doing my job, and she was pregnant with our second son. So she decided to give me the application so that I could go forward. And the rest was history again. I ended up getting a master's in business administration. And I must tell you, Stu, I was then when I came back from Florida, I went back to sugar industry housing, and I became one of the project managers as well, with my good friend. And then afterwards, when it was time for promotion, I became the director of projects at sugar industry housing. So I pretty much tell you that was my schooling. I worked at the Ministry of Communication and Works when I left high school and went on to CAS, then Housing Trust, then the Ministry of Housing, where I was director of projects. And I resigned in 1989 as director of projects from the Ministry of Housing and started doing my own development. Myself and the late Owen Badma, my brethren, my business partner, thought that I would make a good Kiwanian. So he introduced me to the Kiwanis Club of Kingston. And I came in, and believe me, I really enjoyed myself so much. It was the busiest time of my life in terms of working, but I never missed a meeting. We used to have lunch and meeting, and it was so. It was so good to be going to meeting. I look forward every day going to meeting. I was also during that time I was a chairman for a long time, and of the sponsored youth. In fact, they used to call me Mr. Sponsored Youth. And I was, for the KC guys that are on now, I was KC advisor, Kiwanian advisor for many years. We did a lot of projects together, and I sure enjoyed myself again, being an advisor to the youngster of my alma mater. I engaged, interclubbing was something else. Not like now, but when we were interclubbing, we would spend hours, hours and hours and hours with interclub in Montego Bay, in St. Thomas, all about. And it was so enjoyable. I remember people like DLG, Rex Fennell, Governor Carlton, DLGE, Mike Enriquez. Those guys were really the champion for the Kiwanis Club of Kingston. I remember, I never forget this. One time I got up and I said, on behalf of the Kiwan, and on behalf of the Kingston Kiwanis Club. That was when I was very early in the club. And Mike Henriquez got up same time and he said, no. It's the Kiwanis Club of Kingston. I never forgot that again. Conventions were something else. Two of my experiences were international convention in New Orleans, and district convention in, I think, Toronto, in Windsor. We really had some good times. Really enjoy of myself and ourselves as Kiwanian. In fact, I had 12 years perfect attendance until I became a counselor. I entered the politics and become a counselor for my area in Jerusalem. And now I spent 10 years there. That was something else because it was difficult to keep up with the with Kiwanis and with the politics and everything. So I dropped out for a while. So I spent 10 years as a counselor. And I really enjoyed that as well. It was hard, but believe me, it was rewarding sometimes. I also worked as a part-time lecturer at both CAST and UTEC. I went back and taught at CAST. I was a part of the restoration program in Grand Cayman, in the Cayman Islands, after Hurricane Ivan ravished the houses there. So I had to bring back those. My mentors are first of all, at primary school, my scout master, Christopher Bramwell. He really kept us in check as youngsters and really taught us all we need to know and all the discipline we need to know. And as a scout, we have to always be prepared. So Mr. Gladstone Wade, an engineer who I knew, because when I went to KC, you could imagine that I was behind on the program. And he took me and he taught me maths and physics. And believe me, in no time, I caught up with the boys and ran par and so in some areas where I ahead of them. He helped me very much in mathematics, physics, and in drafting. The man I always talk about, Mr. Douglas Forrest, he's a champion. I've never seen another man like him. From the time I walked into Kingston College, when I told you, he said to me, you are a Kingston College boy, and I'm going to make sure that you fulfill that desire. And I told you all about it before. I am married, I have 4 sons, and my wife, Rosemary. Believe me, we have been together for 37 years. And it's been up and down, but I mean, it's been real fun. So that is me in a little synopsis. We could go on and on, but the time does not allow. Junior Stewart, VP, Kiwanis Club of Kingston.
Well, Junior, I'm tempted to say that you actually have a little more time if you wanted it, but I don't know if you are prepared for any more. But I'm just telling you, you do have a little more time because you want to go on.
Yeah, but I missed it. Yes, I was all right. We could go on to this then.
Yes.
My interest is sports, football and cricket. As I told before, I played I was fairly good. I was a fairly good cricketer. I learned from early in football that was not my game. I started playing for for youth club and primary school. But when I met up on the Boys Town team, I realized that I need to try something else because I was not up to scratch with those boys. In fact, I would always get a game on the team because I was left-handed and left-footed, so they are always looking for people to play on the left side, and most of the boys were right-handed and right-footed at that time. I've been to a lot of the Reggae Boys match. I remember very fondly the match in Washington, Jamaica versus US. For those of you who are not there, you certainly missed something. And I remember also the Jamaica versus Brazil team in Florida, in Miami. We got a thrashing, but it was a good game. I was a senior member of the Waterhouse Football Club, where I was part of the management team, and we were instrumental when Waterhouse was down to bring back that team to its delight. We were responsible for the building of the Waterhouse mini stadium, which we saw was a success. In cricket, I'm a very avid cricket fan. I'm a member of the Kingston Cricket Club, and I was also a former member of the Jamaica Cricket Association. I watch cricket in all the territories in the Caribbean, all of them, but none. Test cricket, and in the days of territorial cricket, I remember very well red stripe cricket or shell shield cricket. Those days, cricket was really what it is, cricket. I would travel with a team every year in the early 80s to mid 80s down the Caribbean to watch all these territorial matches and also test matches in the Caribbean. I have been to England, Lords. I mean, when I stood in Lords and look up at it, I really asked myself where I was, the home of cricket. I watched cricket at Lords, the Oval, and in Australia. I toured Australia as well with West Indies. I watched cricket in Sydney, in Queensland, Test cricket that is, and one-day cricket, and in Melbourne. I really miss my tour to South Africa because I was supposed to be going to South Africa as well. And just days before, we had to postpone, not postpone, but cancel the trip because my father, who was my touring partner in cricket, he got sick and the doctor advised him not to travel. So, but I've been watching cricket. I love cricket. I played cricket. My idol in cricket is really Garfield Sobers. I was left-handed. I used to bat fairly well, bowl leg spin, and do a little medium pace, like Garfield Sobers. Most of my friends used to call me Garf. So, that is me. I am, my hobbies are cricket, photography. I do quite a bit of photography. I remember being in the lab developing black and white pictures. It's fun. And I play music. I love music. I collect music. And I used to play on the Arja 70s Club. So that is me in a nutshell.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Junior. I mean, and I think I want to emphasize something that why these I was gonna say session, but it's more than a session. Why these experiences that we are hearing about, and they are from persons who we have known for a long time, but never knew some of the things that they are telling us. And Junior, I think the one that hit me the most is it's how you went to KC. I've never heard a story like that. It's just amazing. It's amazing. Yeah, I mean,
That's the Douglas.
yeah, I won't say anymore, but I mean, thank you very much, Julia. Thank you very much for sharing with us. And at the end, after David does his thing, if there are any persons from the floor who want to ask any questions, we'll take it at that time. So thanks again, Julia.
Thank you.
David, Director David.
Yes, DP Stewart.
Yes, you said you wanted to be able to share a screen.
Yes.
Desmond, can you make sure that he has that opportunity?
Right now, I can't.
Right. So DP Desmond will make that available for you.
The privilege is yours, David.
Thank
Okay. So now it's over to our director, David Hall, one of the big men of the Kiwanis Club of Kingston, in more ways than one. And as I said, I won't say anything. I won't say anything.
Give me a minute, let me try and find my presentation.
Okay. No problem. Well, let me ask David, Junior, something. Who was that Calabar fella you mentioned, Dave, Junior? I don't know if I might know him.
He's a youngster, Hector Distant.
Okay.
My good friend.
All right.
Any connection to the DLGE line?
I doubt it.
Okay.
Doubt it.
You know, and interesting what you said about Douglas Forest.
Yeah.
It's something that although I didn't go to KC, you know, my brother did. So yeah. I've heard a lot of stories.
An amazing everything.
Yes, that is really. There's no question about that. I can say that. There's no question about that. But I like your story. Thank you, Junior. Thank you.
All right, should be good to go.
Okay, ready to go. Okay, David, over to you.
Thank you very much. Hi, good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure being asked to share this evening. Thank you, DP Stewart. Thank you, President. My journey, right? So I'm going to start with my early years, primary school, before I get to this one. This is too early. So my first early years at the Haney Park, that's where most of my early years were. My parents moved there, and I attended basic school there. I attended Haney Park Primary, and just so you can know that some great persons along with myself came out of Haney Park Primary, such as Shaggy and many others. So Haney Park was a real foundation. I passed my common entrance, one of just probably two persons, when I got to the great, everybody talk about KC, well, when I got to the great Jamaica College, yes? And I really didn't know what was going on and who was in my class until probably later on, you know, in terms of where persons come from. As a matter of fact, our WhatsApp group that we have now, or WhatsApp group of our class, or year from, you know, right through first form, what I'm realizing is that the majority of guys came from Mona, Providence. They came from up that side. And so it was probably two of us from the Haney Park that went to JC. So later on, somebody who did an assessment, their mother is the system, says the only way that you could have matriculated into Jamaica College, it must mean your grades were very good. So I was teasing my Calabar friends about it, you know. But I went to JC, and at JC, I did everything, you know. I was on the table tennis team, captain, and I'm in this picture, you know, right? Not the young one at the front. I thought twice about sharing this picture with some of you, but that's not me. I'm in the back, right? Beside the guy, the glasses,
Yeah.
Okay.
and the cold steam, and then
Yes, I can
also
identify.
played Man in Cup, yes. So football, I was the volleyball captain. We won at least 2 trophies. I play a little hockey. I never liked the ball. It was a little tough, just like cricket. So I didn't do much of that. But students' council, drama club, all of these things. And I was also involved in the cadet corps. When I left JC in sixth form, I left as a sergeant major for the Jamaica College Cadet Corps. The next stepping stone to that would have been to go to England as an officer, non-commissioned officer, to be trained. But I remember the last time I had to stand at attention for about 3 or 4 hours. I said to myself, David, this is the last time I'm going to stand up in the hot sun and at attention. So that was my deciding point as to not go any further in the army. I thought 7 years of discipline was enough for me. So I was very much involved. And I also, in sixth form, I was a deputy head boy at JC. A guy, you probably know him, Owen McMaster, was in track. He was a head boy and I was deputy head boy. So I had a very good foundation at Jamaica College, which I will never forget. It so happened that we had a reunion about 2 years ago, and these were 2 of my most favorite teachers. Right, look at that. Such a loving embrace. One on the left taught me Spanish. Mrs. Morris, her son Peter, was in her class also. And the other on the right, you might know her, Mrs. Sobers. She's a humanitarian and always writing. And so it was a pleasure linking up with them again and just send them thanks, you know, for the years that they invested. It didn't go to waste. So our early years was good. So from JC, after, you know, a very great sojourn, to this day, we kind of look back and reminisce. I went to the University of the West Indies, where I also continued in my academic studies, and in between I played volleyball. And again, we were the champions in the intercollegiate league across the Caribbean. And so that time I could have jumped across the net. So that's why it's always good to have good and fond memories of those days. I worked at the National Housing Trust earlier on in that, after I left, I worked for a year. But that was also good because I was able to, you know, get to know a lot about what's happening in the corporate world. Early years. I don't know if you remember the Dust Bowl, where we have, right now we have the in the middle here, where we have all the gardens and stuff.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
at one stage was a Dust Bowl, right? And we used to play New Kingston League on it. I don't know if any of you remember, but that was something I was very much involved in. And then it so happened that ladies that you see there, so we kind of decided that Gilbert was going to be the year we got married. We didn't plan for that. And so as a risk manager, you have to always think about the risk. But as Carol, we got married in 1980. In 1998, the year of Gilbert, wild Gilbert. And we wondered if we could still get married that year because there was no water and all there was bully beef. But I guess we were able to get married, and the bully beef has kept us going for these 32 years. So I thank my wife for keeping me sane and keeping me stable. So I left UA at completing a degree in information technology and management. And then I got into the working world. I went back to the National Housing Trust and I spent a couple more years there. And then I moved on. I did a lot there apart from work. I was events controller from those days, working with events and taking the National Housing Trust staff all over Jamaica. And those were great days. I then moved on to a company at the time called Coopers and Lybrand. And Cooper and Lybrand is now Price Waterhouse Coopers. So a lot of the guys who are at Price Waterhouse now, we work together at Coopers and Lybrand. I was a trained auditor. I got trained also as an IT auditor. So that meant that I was trained to not only audit the financial books, but because of my background in IT, I was trained to be able to audit systems, big systems. And it was there also that my mentor, distinguished President Winston Clark, who spotted me and invited me to Kiwanis. And I thank him and blessed memory. And he was one of my early mentors and supporters. I spent there, I remember when I look back at my salary, I remember when I was going to Coopers and Lybrand, and I won't even tell you what the number I asked for because I was so timid. And when I asked that number and they said that they would give me, I went to them and said to my wife, I said, Carol, I want to hit myself because I should have asked some more money. And I very timidly put on $4,000 on it. And guess what? They gave me the job. So I learned that from those early days. So you must, if you believe in yourself and you have confidence, you must ask for what you're worth. And I hope that through my little presentation here this afternoon, I can encourage some persons and some young people, as you hear my progression, will take on challenges, do their best, because it will pay off. After Coopers and Lybrand, an opportunity came for me to go to the Eagle Financial Network. The head at the time, not Paul Chenyong, I didn't know him then, but I was recruited out of Coopers into Eagle. And I went into IT. My boss there was a guy from New Zealand. So I learned a lot there, good solid foundation. But working with Paul Chenyong, I moved from the main company to a company called Eagle Information Systems. And we were the hip in New Kingston. We were there developing systems, the banking systems. But Mr. Chenyong was a man who would have come in the morning and said that he wanted the sky painted green. And everybody put their head together and go get the brush, paint the sky, get the ladder and everything. And by the time he came back in the evening and you paint the sky green and you say everything is good, him say, no, it's not that, that's not the shade of green he wanted. And so I learned from those days to pivot and to flex because I would need it as my career developed. So I was at Eagle, and you know, Eagle was a real learning place as to how things were gonna go, you know. And then from Eagle, I moved on to the Cable and Wireless, and they were looking for an auditor, somebody who was trained in audit. But at that time, not many people knew internal audit, and not only internal audit, not many people knew IT audit. A lot of people were trained in finance, they were financial auditors. But I was one of the unique ones who got training at Coopers as an IT auditor. So I went to the interview after, trust me, it was like about 6 months of interviewing back and forth. And I went to the interview and I didn't know who my boss would be, but she was in the meeting, didn't say a word on the final interview. We're good friends today. And when I was finished, you know what the people asked me for? They say I must produce for them some of the material that I said I used or got when I was at Coopers and Nybron. And that time when they have no great internet stuff and saving anything is hard copy. And my wife used to say to me, boy, you're keeping all these books. It was good I did because I was able to produce my manuals that I was trained in through Canada. And I showed it to them and they took it, and that is what gave me the job at Cable and Wireless. I went there as an IT auditor. And I didn't know until I went there who my boss was. And she was one of the persons who was in the meeting, not saying a word and taking me out of whining. But it was good. But I went there in October. Harold Miller was the president at the time. And trust me, as a little youngster going in, bright and fresh and thinking you know everything. Well, I didn't think I knew everything. I know I didn't know everything. And they gave me an assignment in my first 3 months of probation. They wanted me to go through all the network, all of the sites right across the island, and to do an inventory of the systems that they had and the switching, the switching points. I didn't know everything about it, but I learned. They gave me 3 months. So that was November, December, and I should come back to them in January. When I started full of energy, and I started asking for information. I asked the IT guy to give me a topology, how the system worked. And he wrote me back in November, and said he can give it to me, but he can't give it to me in February. so because these guys determined that you're not going to succeed, you know. And we are good friends today. So immediately I had to escalate, and I tell people, don't keep it. Escalate. So I called my boss and told her she was on leave because December. The other thing is that everybody go off on leave. So you can imagine what my pants felt like at that time, because everybody's gone, including my boss, including Mr. Miller, everybody. And I know must deliver something in January. So I called her. She called the SVP for IT. The SVP called the other guy. And eventually, after much prodding, I got what I needed. And I worked all of November, all of December, and almost all of January, middle of January, and delivered. And that is what I thought kept me at Cable and Wireless after my 3 months probation. So I stayed on, and I enjoyed it for a good while. And then my next move from there, guess what? I didn't plan it. But I went there in 1996. And in 1998, Cable and Wireless across the entire world. They had many, many branches. Australia, Hong Kong, New Zealand, England, all over in the Caribbean. We had Jamaica, Barbados, Trinidad. Well, about 5 hubs in the Caribbean. And guess what happened? They were gonna close all of them. All of the Cable and Wireless audit functions were gonna be closed. What saved me, and well, it was in the plan, eh? And I tell everybody, be encouraged by your purpose. Because what happened then was that because I had an IT base and we started doing some IT work on the network side of it, the engineering side, nobody don't touch that side because the guys there were there for years, they know everything. So I very timidly started to do some work over there, looking at some of the systems. And when this was happening, I didn't know they were looking worldwide for somebody who had IT audit experience. And so guess what? My boss behind didn't tell me. She recommended me to Cable and Wireless to go and to audit. Now, guess what was happening? MCI and WorldCom, I don't even remember this history now. MCI and WorldCom in 1998, 99. MCI bought WorldCom, right? And so what happened? They were expanding the telecom network in the US. And Cable and Wireless, who were in England, they were now looking to put their footprint in the US. So they bought what they call the backbone, the legacy backbone across the US, $1.9 billion investment. And Cable and Wireless were looking now to set up in the US. So guess who they pushed in that? No, I didn't know all of that. Because I had IT audit experience, they selected me, my boss nominated me, and I went to the US for 2 weeks along with an auditor from the UK. He was going to look at the financial part. And if I went myself before, I went myself after, after the first week. Because when you're doing an audit, right? If you don't break the back of the audit in the first week, right? Who you're going to talk to, what you're going to do, you're going to be in trouble. So if I never prayed, I prayed before that week. Because after 3 days, I didn't talk to anybody. I didn't know anything. Nobody would talk to me. I went to the CEO because that hope was being made redundant. Nobody talked to me. So I prayed. And one day I was walking through the office and I saw a little black guy, because pray white people. I saw white persons. And I saw a guy in the corner. And I went over to him and I told him my dilemma, that I'm the auditor from Cable and Wireless, and we're coming to do a review of what was just bought by Cable and Wireless UK. He said, all right, I'm going to help you a little bit with what I can. So he gave me an org structure. He told me who to talk to, and trust me, by Thursday, I was on it, talked to a few people. I worked entire weekend. Next week, I was up Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, because by Thursday, you have to start drafting your report. And I was able to do it. And I drafted the first thing with a meeting. And I came back to Jamaica and I finalized. And out of that, obviously, later looking back, they appreciated the work I did. And that was how I was seconded to go to the US. Yeah? But guess what the name of the guy who helped me out? His name was Angel. Angel Mondaloka. So, I'm dead serious.
Sent an angel.
Angel Mondaloka to this day is my friend. And he was who helped me out to be able. So that was a major, major thing for me in terms of experience, because it took me to get an understanding of a $1 billion network in the States and to put a plan together, because I had to put the IT audit plan and the guy did the financial, so they could start a hub in Washington called the Washington Audit Group. So the guys from London were gonna come home. Remember, all of the 14 branches were closed and they would have taken the work I did. So that is where it was my thrust into major cable and wireless. You know, I remember saying to God, you know, boy, I wanted a break to travel. You know, why can't travel? Because I did not much traveling then. Looking back, the Lord laughed at me because I mean, let you know the kind of experience in traveling that he provided for me. I went up to the US. I was IT audit manager. The year 2000, I don't remember that. That year when all the systems should have shut down. So I had to cover the Caribbean, I had to cover all the systems to audit and make sure everything was in place. I was given a target, right, of 100 or so weeks to cover 150. Do you know that I almost doubled that? Because I recognized that the only way I could prove my worth amongst a lot of people, different nationalities, people from the UK, was that I had to excel in terms of what I delivered. And I was able to do that. Another message I want to give to those who are on, right? We have to put our head to the wheel. And when I went to the US, I got some very good advice from some of my mentors that encouraged me to work hard, because that's one of the things that's gonna prove my worth. And I was glad I listened to them. So I ended up moving from IT audit manager. I became regional audit manager covering the Caribbean, Panama. And then I left, an opportunity came for me to come back to Jamaica. I could have stayed, but I said, you know what? A friend of mine, in the December, his father, he visited his father, and he had planned to come back in January. And you know what happened? In December, his father passed. He was this. He just couldn't manage himself. And I said to myself, you know what? As much as I can continue, an opportunity will come for me to continue working out of the US. An opportunity came for me to come back to Jamaica to build the Caribbean, because they went full circle and they decided to put back an audit hub in Jamaica for the Caribbean. And I made a decision to come back with my wife. My son stayed in college, and I'll tell you about him shortly, doing very well. But I came back, and I was glad I came back, because I never had more than another 5 years with my parents. Came back about 2008, thereabout, and guess what happened? And my parents were healthy. My father got sick, died in about March, and guess what happened? In 4 months' time, my mother passed on. And I said to myself, that's why you have to follow direction and leading, because I could have stayed there and I'd have missed those years with my parents before they died. My mother, I saw on the Wednesday night. Her birthday was going to be the Sunday. I had to travel, and I told her, I rubbed my hand through her ear and said, Mom, you know, I'll be back on Sunday, because I had to go to Trinidad Monday morning. So I told her I'd be back on Sunday for her birthday, and then I go to Trinidad. Do you know that? And my wife stayed back. She was going to come the day after. And when I left on the Wednesday, by the Friday evening, they called me and said that my mother wasn't responding. And by the time I tried everything to get a flight back to Jamaica from Miami, I mean, I'd have bought the airplane if I could. And I didn't. I came back on Saturday evening. And when I came home, my mother had passed on. You know what that did to me? As tough as it was to this day, the peace that I got was because I left my mother within peace. I left my mother on the Wednesday, not quarreling with her, not cussing her, not even saying, I saw her. If I didn't do that to this day, like many persons, I would have memories of regret. So I thank God for that. And do you know, I actually went to Trinidad. I went to Trinidad on a Monday. I told them what happened. They were saying, no, David, you can't do the presentation. I told them I was in a good place. I did the presentation. They were overwhelmed. And I came back home. And we did. So another lesson and a turning point in my life. While I was in the UK, in the US, I would say that I was, every 3 months I went to London, because that was where the headquarters was. And that was good for me. I got cultured in terms of, I went to all the major plays on Broadway. Yes, so I got cultured in all the good plays, you know, and I started to enjoy London Curry, right? And so it so happened I was going to London so often that there's a little place near where we stayed, a hotel. And I went there like today. I went back to the US 3 months later. I went back to London and I went to my favorite place. And the man said, didn't I see you here last night? because I was going so often, you know. But I got cultured. And the good thing is that I was able to take my wife to London. She had been to London before, but I was able to culture her also in London, the plays and all of that. So we have good memories for that. So good. So I'm back, and then I came back to Jamaica, and I ended up, you know, finish up with Cable and Wireless. I went to Grace Kennedy. I covered all of Grace Kennedy again, the travel. That's why I have not been able to move into certain roles, because I've always been traveling. And then I moved from Cable and Wireless, and an opportunity came for me to work in the Muslim Group. And why did I go there? Because I was able now to cover Latin America. You know, so I covered Honduras and Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Panama, about five Latin American countries. Excellent. So I was able to, I recruited my my secretary, I made sure that she was bilingual. So she trained the audit staff, and then she helped us to do the audits. Can you imagine, in Latin America? That was great experience. So at the end of the day, in terms of audit, I would have under my belt covering all of those places. While I was in the US also, I covered, as I said, when I got to the post of chief auditor, I covered the Caribbean. I covered a place called Macau, right? That's way up there near China. I went to Monaco, and and as a matter of fact, I ended up going to Grace. One of the top executives saw me coming, and we're on a flight at Heathrow, and he saw me, and I was talking about what I was doing. He said he didn't know any Jamaican was doing this kind of worldwide audit, and he was interested. Came back to Jamaica, brought his team together, and as they would say, the rest is history. So in terms of my audit career, it has not that I encourage persons, you know, you don't want to have 20 years of the same audit experience because the same audit experience. You can stay in audit, but what you must try and do is get varied experience that makes you a very rounded person. So that's my work career quickly. My volunteer career, boy, as I said, DP Winston brought me into the Kiwanis movement. I got involved right off the bat, but before I went overseas, between 1996 and 99, early 1999, I got involved with youth services. And when I came back, I was the chairman and then moved to director. And I got involved in a number of things. We did some great stuff. The hike to Holywell, that was great. We had a number of camps with our kids, and they enjoyed that immensely. And football, netball competition. I did work with the other committees in terms of Golden Age homes and visiting and doing a lot of encouragement and providing. So I did a lot of work in the various committees, but the youth was always my primary, and that brought us to Youth in Excellence. So DP Leo Chong, another of my mentors, I brought to him an idea, and that's why I said, look at what Kiwanis International has, and you might be able to find things that you can do. And so this wasn't a project that was there, but we said we can look to encourage our Jamaican youth to excel, and that is how our Youth in Excellence program was birthed. And we used the opportunity to get sponsors, and that program ran for many years. And we always visited with the sitting Governor General. So this was DP Leo and myself and Sir Howard Cook when we met to talk about the program. This was another august body of Kiwanians, DP Charles, DP Dalma, Sir Patrick Allen, DLG Willie, myself, and DP Desmond. You know, so with such an august group of men, the program must have done well. It went so well that the Governor General, I'm sure, used it in one of his programs, you know, because he said, what is good for Jamaica, we have it, you know? And so once the program birthed so much excellent achievement, kids who got 11 ones, 12 ones, you know, kids who were involved in all areas as youngsters. And so we had youth, we had sports, we had academics, right? We had culture, looking at music and arts and stuff, and athletics. And so even recently, Luton Shelton, who had gotten an award earlier, when he got sick, we were able to call him in with his wife and reminisce. And his wife remembered when he got the award and Luton. And so that was good. And there are many other excelling stars today who passed through our Youth in Excellence program. One of the areas that I'm involved in, just before I do that, let me quickly just mention some other areas of volunteering that I do. So I am a past board member of what is called ISACA, the Information Systems Audit and Control Association. That's the other arm of internal audit, and we try and help. I'm the past president of the IIA Jamaica for 4 years. Before that, I was vice president. I took a break and then I've just finished my second two-year stint as the IIA representative for the Caribbean. So for the last 4 years, why you can't see me sometimes is that before COVID, I was all over the place traveling, because one of the things that we're trying to do is make sure we raise the standard of internal audit across the Caribbean. And I just finished my stint, and that went well. When I was in Jamaica, we got a lot of accolades for the performance of the internal audit chapter. All right. One of the things that I do also, my spiritual journey, I'm still involved as an elder at one of our churches in Kingston, but I'm also asked to oversee one of our churches in St. Thomas. So I'm oversight pastor for that for the last 3 years. And here's a group of the kids, you know, because we feed into the kids. The community is a tough community. Not many people have jobs that they can really depend on. So going into that community, driving a car inside there, you can't just talk about preaching and spiritual things that, you know, is always that. You have to help the people. You have to help the people. So we do a lot of work. We just did care packages over COVID across the association. We did almost $2 million in care packages to help the communities, practical help. And trust me, you know, they appreciate it. So that's a part of what I do. I was also the president of the Cable and Wireless Credit Union. I started out just volunteering to help on the supervisory committee, and I want to tell other people, some people only want to start at the top. Yes? Some people, if they're not going to start at the top, they're not going to take it. But I've learned that you start with whatever God gives you to do, right? And I started serving, volunteering to work on the supervisory committee. Then they asked me to do more. Eventually, when the time was coming to serve on the board, they called me and asked me. I was traveling up and down, but they asked me if I could consider. I did, and eventually I became the president of the CNWJ Credit Union. We did well. I did 4 years in that role. Over those 4 years, I did 4 mergers. So the Cable and Wireless Credit Union that you see now came out of some mergers, acquisitions of different credit unions, and we grew it. When I left the credit union, they were the second largest credit union in Jamaica, behind JTA, assets of about $8 billion. They have grown further because they have done other mergers. But if you want a stable credit union, which you should have a credit union, CNWJ is the place to be. All right. So, and in the credit union, I did quite a bit of travel. You know, I went to Australia, down under. I went to Poland. I went to Hawaii twice. My wife always wanted to go to Hawaii, you know. So I was glad. I took her to meet with me the first time. And I was to go back. She said, no, she's not going to come because she can't take the travel. So I left her and my friends in Los Angeles, and I had to go to Hawaii by myself. But I didn't mind it. I didn't mind it. I won't tell you why, but I didn't mind it. I enjoyed the food. Nothing else. So it was great. And that's why I want to encourage those who are on, dream big, you know. Dream, no matter what age you are, dream. And the opportunity comes, work hard, but put God first. My education, I'm a certified internal audit trainer. I've trained out of Miami, so I can train the Caribbean, I can train in the US. I'm a certified information systems auditor. They call it CISM. I'm a certified information systems auditor, CISA, and I'm certified in the governance of IT. So I'm certified to look at systems, right? And I'm also certified on the other side, certified internal auditor. So I'm equipped to look at internal audit systems, both operation and financial. I have a first degree from UA, a second degree from Nova, MBA in finance. I was selected by the Cable and Wireless Worldwide Management to attend a business school. So I went to a business school in France called INSEAD, top-notch business school. And so I gained a lot out of that. And I also went to Harvard Business School. I did a stint there in terms of competitive analysis. So again, excellent. I'm a member of the PSOJ, Private Sector Organization of Jamaica. I look at governance with them. I'm a member of the Jamaica Stock Exchange also, governance committee. I am a lecturer in enterprise risk management with the Mona School of Business. So I try and make sure that what I talk about, I have the support to do that. I've done many presentations, conferences in Jamaica, Caribbean, US, and the UK. So where am I now with all of that? So you see, it's a very busy life, so I have to manage it very carefully. But I started my own consultancy in 2017. And you know, people who start their own business nowadays. I was warned about it, but I thought it time to do that, because one thing, I don't want to end my career having worked for all these conglomerates, you know. Grace, which is good, Cable and Wireless, all international here, and the Muscle Group, and I just leave for someone else. I was led to start my own business because what I think that if I can leave a legacy, yes, then that would be good. A lot of people do that. So why we can't do it, eh? So I stepped out in faith. So this is my son, Andrew, and this was a presentation a church asked me to do. So every now and again, I take him with me, right? And so we started this business, DC Consultants and Associates. And why do I feel confident? It's that all that I've told you about, all the experience, all the what I've done, I believe that I can use that in my business now. I can use that to help companies, small and medium-sized companies, in terms of internal audit. They might not have an audit. I can provide that for them. Enterprise risk management, which I presented this board, and I mean this meeting before, I do a lot of that right now. I help companies to put a proper system in place to, we call it enterprise risk management framework. I do business continuity planning. I look at fraud. We do business process reengineering. And also I do a lot of training. I've done so much training over the last year during COVID. I'm used to talking to a screen. And what you find with the training is that people turn off the cameras, right? And trust me, so I have learned to talk to names for 4 hours, 5 hours, you know, so it has all been a great experience. So Andrew is with me. He's abroad. He's doing very well. Called me today, all excited because he's starting business school, Emory. So he just doing some early days. And I'm looking for the future, you know. And he called, he was so excited to say that he sees the future big like a breadfruit. And we want to take our company. So I'm very encouraged by that. Those of you who have children, who have kids, you know, at this stage, you know, it is good that you can still talk to them, eh? Still help them, because they don't finish life yet. And so whatever you have to devote to your kids, that's my encouragement. That's where it started, and that's where it is today. We hear about Bill Gates and his wife, and they had a agreement. I don't have the money like him yet, but one day I might. You know, but the good thing is that my wife is with me, 32 years, going 33 this year, which I'm grateful for. So those of you married, right? Those of you who are married, I talk to you. I thought everybody coming along, young people, those who are looking to start a new business, listen, treat your wife good, right? It's not always going to be easy. We know it goes, but do your best. What do I leave you with? This man.
I'm going to open my mic now.
Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Educate your kids. We're going through a rough time now. I'm doing 2 projects out at St. Thomas, getting tablets for the kids who are not going to school and trying to help them e-learning program. Education. Try your best. And there are 2 things I leave as my mantra. May those who come behind us find us faithful, right? Your kids, those who we work with across Kiwanis. May those who come behind us find us faithful. And last, I don't want to say I wish I had. So every opportunity that I get to do something, I should say, I've just, in the education part of it, of volunteering, I did 10 years at Herrick Basic School in Duane Park. I did another 6 years as the vice chairman of Edith Dalton James. And just this year, I've taken over as the chairman of a girls' school, of Merle Grove High School. So I've just started that 3-year stint. And so I say to you, don't say you wish you had. When you get a chance to do something, give it your best. So when you leave it, you don't have to have any regrets or bad mind nobody else. And that's how our Kiwanis thing goes. After you finish your term, somebody else takes over. So when your time comes, even during COVID, President, you do your best because that is all you can do, your best. And I leave this with all of us. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, David. Thank you. A wonderful presentation. And we have not always, opened the floor for questions. I mean, sometimes we just absorb all the information that we have gotten, and we want to thank you really because I learned a lot. I learned a lot about, I thought I knew you pretty well, but the one thing did you say you played Manning Cup? I mean, I heard this, was that a Manning Cup team or was that another team?
I played Colts and then I was on the squad, but I didn't actually play on the stadium.
Okay. Anyway, that's still an achievement.
I wasn't the water boy though.
All right, I'm gonna say, since time is running, I want to give our attendees, our audience, the opportunity to ask anything, any follow-up, something you heard from either Junior or David. The floor is open.
I just wanted to make a comment for both. And I hope everybody else got this, that when you enjoy what you do, the results are just fantastic. I was moved by both of the presentations, and you were speaking from your heart, and it came naturally, and it's because you enjoy what you do. So you have brought that out to others, and I hope you understand how important it is, especially as you're getting older in life, to just enjoy what you do and make the best of it. But there were fantastic presentations, and I'm glad I'm here this evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much, DG. Thank you.
Thank you, DG Hope.
I have one comment to both parties.
Go ahead, Eric. Go ahead. We're hearing you.
Junior just displayed how when you have your eyes set on good things, you get in, even if it's through the back door. But he stayed there long enough to ignore that it was a back door. He did a whole lot of things, even though I think he went after I left. But he has been a good guy.
Yeah.
Do you remember, David, about the experience when some wicket was laid at Savannah Park? You were involved? Or it's not a thing to talk about?
Me or Junior?
No, I mean Junior, sorry. Junior.
It didn't sound like David to me.
Sorry.
I was hoping that one just went through.
Anyway, you know, I only
I
wanted,
told you I was very involved in cricket, right?
yeah, I only
Yeah.
want to know about the wicket, but I'm not going to ask you what happened because I just wanted to remember.
I would just tell you, it's the same wicket I've been playing on now.
Okay, good. It's a whole lot of work that time though. I had to dig up the whole,
It is the same wicket.
yeah. And David, your David, no, just a small thing. Your prayers gave you an angel. How coincidental, eh?
Oh, coincidence.
Yes.
That prayer reminds me of an incident. The same year that Jamaica played the World Cup thing it was in Washington. I had
Yes.
some money in an envelope for a friend's. And when I called them and said you can come for the money, I couldn't find it. And I actually went down like how they, what do you call them? Those people, I forget the name straight out. Those people from the east. So they go down, almost prostrate on the ground. And as I raised up my head, I saw that the envelope had dropped on the skirting board. Because I didn't know how much money I got. And I just told the sons that they could come for it. And rested it on a suitcase thing, you know, all those things. And it dropped off all the things. And I was sweating. So God answered my prayers by telling me to go down as I did. He sent you an angel.
You did.
And finally, David, I remember when I was very annoyed that the GG stole our program. And I think you mentioned that, well, it's a good thing, so it just as well it spread. And I remember a relative of mine, when I complained that another school was using the KC motto, he said the best form of flattery is imitation, something to that effect. So it runs around. Something hurt you one way, but it's really working for other people, let it go. Thank you. That's all I have to say.
DP Stewart, there are two raised hands there. DLGE Stan and Marlon Thompson from Greater Port.
Okay, let's take Stan first. Let's take DLG Stan first.
Thank you, DP Stu. What Junior Stewart didn't tell us.
I know. I know.
Well, there's a lot he didn't tell us.
Yeah.
But I couldn't imagine that somebody else would have the name Junior Stewart until I saw it in the paper recently. When I called him, I said, "But you're wanted." He said, "No,
Oh, yes. I called him too.
It wasn't me.
But
it wasn't me.
Yeah, it wasn't him. And I believed him. But what he didn't tell us also was his involvement in the fact that he built the secretariat, the blood collection center from which we have the secretariat. He should tell us something about that. Please, Junior, tell us something about that. You cannot go and give us all this fancy story and we are meeting at the secretariat. And several clubs are meeting there. And they did not know that you were the contractor that built it. Go ahead, please.
Yes, well, with the secretariat, I was very much involved in the initial stage of getting it done. I did the actual construction of the secretariat, and I'm back now with Major on it as a major project. I got the the drawings approved, and we are ready to go now to get it built. I think what happened is the COVID really damped our efforts on that and put it back a little. But I am confident that we will get the additional part done, and I am determined to continue to assist and to get it done. I told you before that I was instrumental in getting the Waterhouse Football Stadium, which today is something in Waterhouse, right? So I'm in construction, I'm in building construction, I'm in housing construction, and I'm determined to...
You didn't tell us the name of your company, sir.
Oh,
yes.
It's Broken Housing Development.
Yes.
And something I should have told you as well is in cricket, when at the time in about 1993, when Owen and myself were doing housing development. We were one of the first companies in Jamaica, in the Caribbean. I mean, I've never heard of anything like that before.
Give to them.
Thanks to Owen, to give to the sportsmen, both Courtney Walsh and Jimmy Adams, $1 million in 1993 to help them to purchase a home in our development. Since then, I've been hearing government giving sports people land and housing and what you call it. But believe me, it was something that Owen really brought up when we were together. And believe me, it started a trend in sporting and an appreciation to our sportsmen. And that I think was something commendable and to talk about.
Thank you, Junior. There's another person, the other person in the chat, Marlon. Sorry, you're finished, Dan? Are you finished?
Yes, hello.
Yes, okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Marlon.
Thank you. I just wanted to tell the two gentlemen, Junior and I believe his name is David, right. You know, I could tell from their speech and their life story, you know, that one thing that really remained true was their persistence, you know, and you know, I definitely like hearing, you know, these type of story because it kind of lets persons like me, you know that we're on the right track, and you know, we just have to keep persisting and moving forward in order, you know, to be successful in life. And I love what David said, you know, and the quote from Nelson Mandela, it says that education is very important. So I really appreciate that, guys. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anybody else has their hand up in the chat, Desmond?
Yes, there are three. Let me find it. We have here DLGE Joe Williams.
Okay, let's go with him first.
And
go ahead.
And next, Director Warren.
Okay, let's go with DLG Joe Williams first.
Yes, this is DLG Joe here. What Junior said, Junior mentioned that his father was a
mayor
of Montego Bay.
Yes.
But what he has not told us, that he was also a member of the Kiwanis Club of Anchovy, Cambridge.
Okay.
Which I was a charter member.
Right.
So I just want to remind him that I knew his father very well.
Okay, I encourage him to be a member of that club as well.
Okay, good. Right. You did the right thing.
Right. Because when he left politics and he didn't have much to do, you know, I said to him, and we spoke about the whole thing, and I said to him, look, you need to get your community, man. You need to get yourself involved in some other community work. And we talked about Anchovy, Kiwanis Club of Anchovy, and I encouraged him, and he did become a member.
Yes.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you, dear. Who is next in the chat?
Director Warren. Director Warren.
Okay, Director Warren, go ahead.
Thank you, DP Stewart. I too would like to commend the both presenters. You know, I think not only was the content very interesting, but the presentations, you know, I thought it was well presented. But I wanted to find out from first Director David. He said he went to the college, and I would be anxious to find out approximately what years, you know, as an old boy myself.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, Director, can you take down your slide, your presentation?
So I left in 81.
81?
Yes.
Oh, that's you're a young fella.
Sixth form, eh?
You're a young chap. Yeah, yes. Because we have a chat group, but it's for the 60s.
I know.
And it's over 100 members, you know.
I know. We have another one for the year below. So I know about that one.
Oh, good. But I thought your life experience was very interesting, you know, and obviously you were a very good foundation at the college, you know.
Absolutely. Perfect.
All right. And to the VP Stewart, did you mention that you're a counselor for many, many years?
Yes.
10 years. He did.
Yes, I was a counselor for 10 years in the Jews land.
And I'm sure you did a lot of commendable work, you know. You just barely brushed over it, you know.
No. Oh yes, well, I didn't figure that I had enough time to go through all of those things. There's a lot of things.
I can imagine, you know.
And that is what took me away from Kiwanis in that period, in the period of 90s, 2002 to the time that I came back. Because it was very difficult to do both things at the same time.
Yes.
The counselor work is very demanding, as you know.
Yes.
You know, and the thing about it is, was in my area. The area that I represented was the same area that I grew up in. So you know the kind of things that you'll have to go through.
Right.
Okay.
David.
There was one more. There was one more in the chat.
No, I'm just asking Director David to stop sharing now.
Okay.
All right, let me look and see.
Because I thought you said there were 3. And
we have dealt with them.
We have dealt with them. Okay. Yeah. All right. If there is
well, in terms of hands raised, let me see as far as chat. No, I don't see any more. Thank you.
Okay, so last call. We just take one more. If there's anybody else from the floor who wants to say anything or ask a question, we just take one more if that person exists.
Director Letner here from Toronto. You know, this meeting couldn't end unless you hear my voice again. I am truly impressed at the presentation. You know, it is good to know, as Ms. Lou said, if you don't know where you come from, you don't know where you go. So it's good to recall and to know that you all came from humble beginnings. And what I'm really impressed about the fact that David has encouraged his son to do the business that he is doing, so that when he moves on, he knows that his legacy would be left to somebody and his work would not be in vain. Because too often I find we as Black people, especially here in North America, we work, we have a business, and the children grow up, they go to university, they graduate, and then they go on to something else and they go work for other people. And then your business is closed after you retire because there's no succession. So I'm very impressed and I'm very pleased that he has decided to pull his son into the business and to take him on his special presentation that he did, to show him the ropes and for him to use it as a learning experience along the way, so that he can become even a better man than his father and a better businessman than his father.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, Director Letner. Okay. I think that's
last call.
Okay, Maurice.
Burnside, you son of a gun.
Listen to me. Last call.
Okay, Maurice.
Let me tell you something. I have been out of the Kiwanis circle for a while now. Thank goodness for my friend Roy, who kind of just keep filling me in. Maurice, jump on this webinar. And let me tell you something. I am so proud of you guys. Letner Allen, it's a shame that we live in Canada and I don't see you for so long. And we are
because
it's embarrassing.
Too much snow, my love.
No, don't worry about the snow. That is snow. There's no snow in my world. It don't exist. But
well, you can come to the Kiwanis Club of Toronto, Caribbean.
Let me tell you something. I miss you guys. And I am so honored to be a part of this group tonight. Roy, thank you for bringing me on board to listen, to just come down. Listen, man, David, you talk about those lunch sessions. You know, it's important. I migrated in 2000. And David, you left that time too. So we were coming up in the ranks and doing some crazy things in the youth club and all this kind of stuff, working with the kids.
I remember.
And I am so impressed with what I've heard that has transpired in your life. And Junior, you know, we're all in the construction business. I'm really impressed. And here's what I like. I wish more young people, and I hope a lot of young people were listening to what you guys talked about, because it's amazing what us as Jamaicans have achieved. You know, from, you know, we look about with Talawa, and we really need our youth to hear these things. I mean, just to hear the stories. David, man, proud of you, man. Junior, proud of you. I mean, we talk about the humble beginnings, but sometimes I think we take it for granted. And that's one of the things I loved when we poured into the youth, to let them know that they can dream. You said that thing, you know, David, we need to dream big. My company is called Dream Big, because I believe that one of the things we lack, or one of the things that's missing, is we don't dream big enough. We don't feel like we can do it. And I'm so impressed with the whole Kiwanis group. I mean, I am going to stay plugged in. And Mr. Earl, you know, all of my good friends. I mean, I'm just really honored for this medium. Desmond, the bachelor, I don't know if I'm going to stay a bachelor all his life, but it is really, really wonderful listening and hearing. Because as Stewart said, you know, we meet people every day, but we really think we know them, but we really don't. So it's good when people can share, and it's not sharing from a braggadocious thing, it's sharing how our lives evolved over time. And so we can impart to other people how their lives can evolve, the younger ones. And this is something that I think the club should continue to do, because everybody has a story and everybody has a journey. So I am so excited. I am honored to listen in and to learn more about my fellow Kiwanians. It is really wonderful. So I couldn't let it pass, sir.
But Maurice, let me say this. Oh, David, you want to say something?
No,
say what you want to say.
I just say thank you.
Okay, Maurice, let me tell you something. Our link, right, is now constant. In other words, we're not changing the link every meeting again. So if you have this link, you can, whenever you can log on every Tuesday at 7.
I'm going to see it. Yeah, perfect.
So you won't need to be, you don't have to know what's going on. But if you send us your email, I can send you the flyers whenever we do it.
All right.
Next week is our annual general meeting, which is kind of routine. But at least you have the link. So, you know, every Tuesday.
Lovely, man. Lovely. Proud of you guys. I mean, hats off to you. And
with this enthusiasm, DP Stewart.
Yes.
You will soon be able to hear his life story.
I'm telling you, man, I'm excited. I'm excited to hear it.
Yes.
Full of vim and vigor.
Yes.
Love it.
We all went to Cuba.
Okay, Maurice. And say hello to your lovely wife.
Yeah, man.
Director,
okay.
Director, I will keep him abreast. I will bring him along.
All right.
Stuart, I need to get your number so I can text you. What's your number again, Stuart?
I can 812-1965. 812-1965.
All right, 1965. All right, I'll message you.
Yeah, man. Okay.
Cool.
Okay, I think that kind of comes to an, you know, we could pull it to an end at this point. And just to once again, just say thank you, VP Junior. Thank you, Director David. It was eye-opening. And we really appreciate your being frank and being, you know, opening up to us. That's what the concept of this, let's call it a program. That's what the concept of it was when we started it, and it is working. So over to you, President Richard.
Thank you. We now invite DP Earl, Sergeant at Arms.
So tell me something, Fred. That was the voter thanks. No certificates. Oh no, it's okay.
No, we don't normally do it for this one.
Right, that's right. Okay.
Right.
All right. Well, I am not going to bore you with many things. I can only mention that. Well, I made my comments earlier on presentations. But I'm glad to see we had a fair amount of people. I was just drawing your attention to how you ever see abstract painting, viewing an art exhibition, and you have abstract paintings. And then you hear some people talking with great expertise as what the artist was trying to portray. Well, I saw this thing about a sports commentator describing something, and I'm just going to tell you what he said. And then maybe I won't have to tell you what he was talking about. But I bet some people get it wrong. And it goes like this. No cover, no extra cover, two fine legs, two silly points perfectly in place, absolutely no grass on the pitch, but lots of moisture under the surface. Even though the balls will bounce unevenly through the match, it will be wonderful to bat all day long. What was he talking about?
Cricket.
That's what you think. Well, cricket, but you are describing a nude. I'll leave you with that.
Okay, thank you, DPR. Okay, going to invite DLG Willie, our secretary, to bring notices and announcements and interclubbing opportunities.
Thank you, President Richard. In the interest of time, there are not many notices. Just a reminder of the ECNC Virtual District Convention this month between May the 14th and the 15th. Registration is now closed, but we have, apart from our 3 delegates, we have 5 other members who have registered. The Kiwanis International Leadership Education Conference will be held in Salt Lake City from June 23 to June 26. Fellow Kiwanians and guests, reminder of our annual Barbie Pride on Friday, May the 28th at the Jamaica 4-H headquarters on Old Hope Road. Cost of the tickets are $1,800. We're having a fundraising committee meeting on Saturday evening to fine tune and look at the returns in terms of deciding how much numbers we should cater for. Insofar as interclub opportunities, I don't have any details of any upcoming ones unless any visitor would like to announce an interclub opportunity. But the details of any will be sent out in the morning. Thank you, President Richard.
Thank you, DLG Willie. DP Stewart, thought for the week.
Okay, President Richard. I have 2 short ones. And this one kind of fits into some of the theme for tonight. You know, a poor man is not a man without a cent. A poor man is a man without a dream. And the second one is, be the kind of person that other people want to be around. And those are my thoughts for the week. President Richard, over to you.
Thank you. Fellow Kiwanians and guests.
President Richard.
Go ahead.
I had my hand up. I was hoping to give
my
an announcement.
apologies. I'm using a mobile phone, so my view is a bit restricted. Go ahead.
Duly noted, Prince. The Kiwanis Club of Linstead wishes to invite all to our guest speaker evening tomorrow. We'll be having a speaker from the Child Protection and Family Services Agency. They will be doing a presentation on fostering a child, giving a brighter future, I think it is, and they will be speaking particularly to the LIFE program that they have going, which is the Living in a Family Environment program. The link will be circulated during the course of the evening, and I'm looking forward to seeing everyone there. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, the meeting is at 7:30 tomorrow. Sorry, President. Meeting is at 7:30 tomorrow.
Okay, yes. Thank you. We note that and commend it to our members and visitors. At this time, I will invite us all to raise our glasses and a toast to Kiwanis International
Jamaica land we love.
and Jamaica land we love.
Kiwanis International, Jamaica land we love.
Yes.
This meeting of the Kiwanis Club of Kingston is hereby terminated. I'm going to need a portable bell. Yeah. Okay. I say,
Okay.